Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most epic tales of all time, the Trojan War. This isn't just a story, it's a foundation of Western literature, a saga filled with passion, betrayal, glory, and unimaginable tragedy. We're talking about heroes, gods, and a war that lasted 10 long years, all sparked by a single, fateful decision. If you thought your family drama was complicated, just wait until you hear about ancient Troy. For those new here, the Trojan War is a legendary conflict between the early Greeks and the people of Troy in Anatolia. It's a story often attributed to Homer's epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey. Think of it as the ultimate ancient blockbuster. And in this first part of our series, we're going to meet some of the key players, both Trojan and Greek, who set this whole incredible drama in motion. We'll start with the heart of Troy, its royal family, and then take a peek at the initial spark that ignited this monumental clash. Now, let's set the scene. Imagine the magnificent city of Troy, with its towering walls, gleaming palaces, and bustling marketplaces. It was a city of immense wealth and power, ruled by the wise King Priam. He had many sons and daughters, but two of them would become central figures in our story, the noble Hector and the charming, yet impulsive, Paris. These two brothers, despite their shared royal blood, couldn't have been more different, and their fates would become inextricably linked with the destiny of their city. First, let's talk about Hector. Oh, Hector. He was more than just a prince. He was the greatest warrior of Troy, its shield and its protector. Think of him as the epitome of a noble hero. Brave, honorable, deeply devoted to his family, and fiercely loyal to his city. Hector was the kind of leader who would inspire his troops to fight against impossible odds. He wasn't fighting for personal glory, but for the safety of his people, his wife Andromache, and his young son Astyanax. He understood the terrible costs of war, and while he excelled in battle, he always sought peace. He's arguably the most sympathetic character in the entire epic, a true champion you can't help but root for. Then there's Paris, Hector's younger brother. Now, Paris is a much more complex character. He's often depicted as incredibly handsome, charming, and a skilled archer, but also somewhat vain and less inclined to the grind of battle compared to Hector. His story really kicks off with a divine beauty contest. Yes, a beauty contest judged by a mortal man. The goddesses Hera, Athena, and Aphrodite all tried to bribe him to declare them the fairest. And what did Aphrodite offer? The hand of the most beautiful woman in the world, Helen. Now, there's a catch, of course. Helen was already married to Menelaus, the king of Sparta. Oops. This brings us to the infamous event that directly triggered the war, the abduction, or elopement, of Helen. Paris, visiting Sparta as a guest, became smitten with Helen. And she, whether by force, love potion, or her own free will, left with him for Troy. Can you imagine the scandal, the outrage? Menelaus was, understandably, furious. His honor was deeply wounded, and his wife, a symbol of beauty and status, had been taken by a Trojan prince. This was an insult that could not stand. And this is where the Greek warriors enter the scene, preparing to avenge Menelaus and reclaim Helen. The Greeks, also known as the Achaeans, were a formidable force. They were not a single unified nation as we understand it today, but a coalition of various kingdoms and city-states, each ruled by its own powerful king or chieftain. When Menelaus called upon his brother, Agamemnon, the powerful king of Mycenae, to help him retrieve Helen, Agamemnon, seeing an opportunity for glory and perhaps even dominance, agreed to lead a massive expedition against Troy. This wasn't just about Helen. It was about honor, power, and the assertion of Greek might. And who joined this grand expedition? Oh, just some of the most legendary heroes in Greek mythology. We're talking about Agamemnon himself, the supreme commander, often portrayed as mighty but also arrogant. His brother, Menelaus, the wronged husband, was driven by a thirst for justice. Then there's Odysseus, the cunning and resourceful king of Ithaca, famous for his wit and clever stratagems. He initially tried to avoid the war, but once committed, he became an indispensable asset to the Greek cause. And of course, we cannot talk about the Greek warriors without mentioning Achilles. Achilles, the greatest warrior of all the Greeks, almost godlike in his speed and strength. He was famously invulnerable except for his heel, hence the term Achilles' heel. He was a demigod, a force of nature on the battlefield, but also prone to fits of rage and a profound sense of honor that sometimes bordered on stubbornness. His presence alone was enough to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. He was a champion whose prowess was unmatched, and his participation was crucial to the Greek strategy, even when his personal pride caused immense problems. Other notable Greek heroes included great Ajax, a massive and powerful warrior, second only to Achilles in strength. Known for his steadfastness in battle, there was also little Ajax, a swift and agile fighter. Nestor, the wise and elderly king, offered invaluable counsel, sharing stories and strategies from his long experience. Diomedes, another fierce and brave warrior, even dared to wound gods on the battlefield. Imagine the courage and skill these men possessed, all gathered under one banner to sail across the Aegean Sea and lay siege to Troy. The stage was set for an epic showdown. On one side, the Trojans, defending their beloved city, led by the noble Hector and the fateful Paris. On the other, the mighty Greeks, a coalition of the most formidable warriors of their age, driven by honor, vengeance, and ambition. The abduction of Helen was the spark, but the underlying tensions and power dynamics between these two great civilizations were the true kindling. This 10-year war would see countless battles, heroic deeds, heart-wrenching losses, and divine intervention at every turn. It's a story about the human condition, love, loss, pride, and the terrible consequences of war, and we've only just scratched the surface. So, what do you think of our initial cast of characters? Are you Team Hector or Team Achilles? Let me know in the comments below. We've got so much more to uncover in the upcoming parts of this series, including the strategies, the gods' interventions, and the eventual fall of Troy. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the beginnings of the Trojan War, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next installment of this incredible saga. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.